Well, howdy, hey, and welcome back to Culver Clan Travels. What we're going to be doing during this particular video is looking at how do the specialty restaurants actually work. So here's the agenda. We'll talk about the reservation system and how that works, talk about how to optimize that, and then have a couple of final thoughts. And while it only has 3 agenda items, there's a lot to specialty restaurants. So first of all, if you go to the Oceania website and look up culinary, they have a whole website on all the culinary experiences that they have, including the specialty restaurant dining. The number of reservations you're going to get is going to be dependent on the cabin category that you have and the length of the cruise. And I'm going to have a table on the next slide that kind of explains how that works. But Oceania does have a knowledge article on how many dining reservations and how much you're allowed in each one. And then finally, the reservations are free. You can make the reservations before you get on the cruise ship, and then you can, while you're on the cruise ship, go back and get additional reservations, with one exception to that. But for the specialty restaurants, the reservations are free and you can attend more. And if you're in a penthouse or higher category room, you can have food from any of the specialty restaurants delivered to your room, course by course, by the butler. All right, so let's look at the reservation system and how it works. And you can see that I've split the ships into two different categories here. You've got one category up top for the larger ships. And as you can see, the different room categories over on the left, the cruise duration as the various columns. So for example, on the 180-day around the world cruise, my spouse and I are staying in a penthouse suite, so we would get two reservations at each of the restaurants. Okay, and if you're on the owner Vista or Oceania suite, you get three, and all other suites you get one. And given there are four specialty dining restaurants, that means you're either getting 4, 8, or 12 reservations before the cruise even begins. For the smaller ships, it's a different set of categories. Basically, from concierge up, for more than 18 days, you're going to get 3 reservations per specialty restaurant, and then all other suites on the smaller ships, it's only 2. Okay, but again, these tables should be helpful at looking at how many reservations you actually get. And then when you can make the reservations is likewise tied to the room category that you're in. And again, the Oceania has an article. I've listed it up top, so you can go directly to that article and look at what it means. But again, I've kind of summarized it on a single table. And the way this chart works is it's listing the maximum number of days out and then the minimum number of days before the cruise that you can actually do the reservations. So again, looking at, say, for example, the concierge rooms, the maximum is 60 days out. You can make a reservation up to 7 days before. And in the case of Owner Vista and Oceania Suites, it's 150 or 90 days, depending on how long the cruise actually is. The reservation system opens for you at midnight Eastern time. So for, again, going back to concierge level rooms, it would be 60 days before. Midnight Eastern time is when it would open, and you can go in and start to make your reservations. Now, these are all the advanced reservations. You can, while you're on the cruise ship, make reservations as well. And a lot of people do that, including my wife and I. So for penthouse suites and up, you just talk to your butler, and then they will work it out to either bring it into your room or to have it in the restaurant. For concierge level rooms, you can go to the concierge lounge, and the attendant will help you if the ship has a concierge lounge. Not the smaller ships sometimes don't have that. And then for all other categories, there's a specialty reservation desk, normally on deck 5. And you want to go down, look at when they open in the morning, and queue up a little bit early to make sure that you can get those reservations. But that leads to, how do you optimize? getting reservations while you're on a particular cruise. So before the cruise, consider when you would want it as part of your schedule. Sea days are going to be very, very popular, and so you want to pay attention to that. You want to, if you have special events like a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or something like that, you want to book that ahead of time. And you want to book as soon as possible. There are people who stay up and they get up at, or they wake up at midnight Eastern time to make the reservations as quickly as possible because for some people, a 6 o'clock dining experience is what they want. For others, it's an 8 o'clock dining experience. But if you've got a particular time frame that you want, then you want to go ahead and book that as soon as possible. For the on-ship reservations, you want to queue early because every day there'll be a line there trying to get it if you're not using your butler or the concierge lounge to help you get those reservations. So you want to queue early. And then eating at a shared table is much easier to reserve and I believe fun. You get to socialize, learn about somebody else's life journey, and have fun at dinner while you're doing that. So again, you getting a table of two is sometimes problematic. Getting a table of four is not as problematic. Now, if you're trying to book a shared table and you've got 4 or 6 people joining you, then you're going to need their names, room numbers, and their booking number to actually book that ahead of time if you're doing it as part of an advanced. And then on the ship, it's kind of the same rules. You've got to get in the queue and you've got to have that information so that they can hold the specialty dining. When you do it, you want to use whoever has the highest category room to actually make the reservation because that's going to have the greatest opportunity for actually getting it booked. And I think the other thing, just like any other experience, personal relationships matter. If you form a relationship with the maitre d', they know who you are because you've been on the ship for the last 3 months, and you treat them well, then it increases the chance that they will work some magic and get you in. And so I always try to treat people with dignity and respect. And if you do that, then they will reciprocate with dignity, respect, and occasionally a dining reservation that somebody else might not get. Finally, there's an option with La Reserve where you can go and have this kind of mixed menu, and it's offered on the larger ships, and they have a couple of different, opportunities there, and there is a surcharge associated with it. The surcharge is a fixed amount, and then a 20% charge, a gratuity charge on top of that. Um, and the Odyssey and the La Cuisine Bolognese is going to be around $180. The price has changed, so I can't give you an exact. And the Dom Perignon is somewhere between 450 and 500. It's in that range plus 20% actually on top. You can see the menus out on the Oceania website and the drinks that will go with the dinner. And this is not something that you would do with a group of two. I think the minimum is 6. My wife and I have not done this variant. There are people that really enjoy it. We've always just been thrilled with the specialty restaurants, but when we do the World Cruise, we are planning to go and do the Odyssey and do the Dom Perignon experience at some point during the World Cruise. And as I understand it, as they've introduced the Aqua Spa uh, uh, healthy dining option, they're holding it in a different room, but it's the same type of experience. And so you just have to work to find 6 to 8 people that want to do that. Occasionally, it'll be advertised in the current. Um, and that'll give you an opportunity to experience these different variant menus that are served at a surcharge. All right, some final thoughts. People tend to dress up for the specialty restaurants. I've got a video on the Oceania dress code, and I'm about to do actually a second video on that as well. Tipping is a personal matter, but it's not expected, but it's always appreciated. So make your personal decision on whether you want to or not tip. And then you should always mention a staff member by name if they do extraordinary service. And I make a point of capturing the name of the waiter and waitresses that do an extraordinary experience to make sure that I mention them in the cruise survey. And then again, if it's a longer cruise, we work some other dynamics where we can always recognize each other and tease each other a little bit as we go along. But we form a kind of personal relationship with those waiters and waitresses that take extraordinarily good care of us. All right, so in summary, Oceania offers a lot of complimentary reservations at their specialty restaurants. We really enjoy that. It's based on your room cabin category of when and how many advanced dining reservations you can make. Once you get on the ship, you can make additional dining reservations, and there are different mechanisms for doing that. And then there are some strategies, which I just covered, in terms of, sitting in a group will always enhance your ability to get into a specialty restaurant. Being able to go a little bit later or be flexible will enhance that opportunity. All right, well, very good. So this video has talked about how do I do on Oceania Cruise Line specialty restaurants and how they work. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.